Hi guys, very good evening to all of you. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be covering a very important concept of Java: interfaces. In the last few videos, I shared uh, concepts like uh, static block, static code block, uh, then initializer, uh, instance initializer code block, then abstract classes, final, abstract and final keywords. And now I will be covering interface, a very important concept in Java. And in that context, I will be comparing with abstract classes also. It is often compared with abstract classes. So let me first talk about what is an interface. What is an interface? An interface is uh, a code of unit, a unit of code containing only method prototypes. In the layman terms, only the method prototypes without any body, just the prototypes with a semicolon, and uh, no non-abstract method. They are by default abstract methods, no non-abstract methods, and uh, classes implement the interface. This is what an interface is. It has got an identity of its own. I mean, it is not a class. It is not, they are not classes, right? So in this context, this is what that wherein lies the foremost point of difference, that interface contains only abstract method prototypes, and uh, abstract classes contain both uh, abstract and non-abstract methods. Method methods, abstract prototypes. So this is the foremost point of difference. Then in abstract classes we have got a class extending the abstract class, whereas in interfaces we have got uh, a class implementing the interface, not extending, implementing. There are separate keywords. So how we write, how we create an interface? Interface, interface name. Say interface A. A is the interface. Interface in lower caps. Okay. Interface A. Then within braces we have got a set of method prototypes. And there are certain guidelines about these method prototypes that we need to follow, or that are followed. Then we have got a class implements, like class B implements A. The implements is the keyword to implement the interface, wherein we define all the abstract methods with bodies, right? We override. It is a way of overriding. So technically overriding, although overriding comes in with the concept of extending, but this is a way of overriding only, where we override the methods with the proper redefining bodies. So each method is redefined here and bodies are furnished, and then we have a class creating the object of the class implementing the interface, creating an object, and with that object we can invoke the methods in the class implementing the interface. I will be demonstrating all this with code for better understanding. I'm just briefing and giving an overview of what are interfaces. Okay, so uh, that in the broader aspects of interfaces, then we have got multiple inheritance supported by interfaces. Like, what is multiple inheritance? Like, extends a comma b. We have been extending one class, like class A, then we have got we had class B extends A. Here multiple inheritance means extends A comma B, like there are two classes, say B and C, and then C extends A comma B. But we do not have this concept of multiple inheritance with classes. We only have it with interfaces. Like we have got one interface A, one interface B, then we can have a third interface C extends A comma B. That is multiple inheritance. And there is the concept of inheritance also. Like we can have one interface A, then one interface B extends A. That is inheritance and multiple inheritance. So then we can create a class that implements C, which is extending both A and B, and define all the abstract methods of both A and B, right? So this is the concept of inheritance and multiple inheritance that is well supported by interfaces in Java. Then interface methods cannot be static and final. They cannot be final because they are overridden in the class implementing, so obviously they cannot be final. And they cannot be static. It's because it doesn't make sense that they be static. Why? Because we cannot create objects of interfaces. We cannot instantiate objects of interfaces. We cannot create instances of interfaces because they're abstract. They're implicitly abstract. They contain methods that are implicitly abstract without usage of the abstract keyword. So when the methods are abstract, then and they cannot be and interface cannot be instanced, we cannot create instances of interface, uh, then uh, then if they are they need to be overridden, right? They need to be implemented where we will be defining prototypes, we will be uh, redefining the methods. So there is no point that they be static. Static means something that belongs to the class, and interface is interface with the concept of abstractness. And we are not creating any instances. We cannot create objects of interfaces. So interface methods cannot be static, cannot be final, and they are by default public and abstract. And we can have variables declared uh, final, public final. We can have variables which can be public final and static also. The variables we can have variables whose, I mean, we want the values to be constant. So implicitly the variables are final and public. We can also write static variables, static final, public static final variables. Okay, so this then one more concept about interfaces is that we can use the interface variables to refer to object referring to objects referring object references. We can assign object references to interface type variables. Like we can create, supposedly there is an interface A. We can create a variable of type A, that A var example, say var example is the name of the variable. So A var example can refer to can uh, refer to object can refer to a memory allocation pointed to by an object reference. I will be elaborating on this with coding. You will be able to better grasp and understand. Okay. So let us now move to coding. I will be demonstrating these concepts, elaborating on these with coding, right? So let us move to coding.